All right, guys. Got paused. Let's start this over. This is the third fucking time I tried this shit. But anyway, the Twitter guy is saying they've seen him, and the one and only thing that I saw of him live was Larry Holmes. Every other thing's been on YouTube, and Wide World of Sports. Well, growing up or something, if people are my age, let's put it like this: I want to say 4 months old when he fought George Foreman.
Yeah.
So that's why.
I get it.
And you're younger than me, so
Yeah.
you've never seen him fight live.
No.
And the regulation of the Holmes fight isn't much. You know what I mean? Because I was only 7 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, something like that. My earliest memories are that and Holmes and Jerry Cooney and Randall Tex Cobb and Alexis Arguello and Aaron Pryor. I was going to say Richard Pryor. I don't know why.
Because he's classy.
Yeah, exactly. And even the Dooku Kim Boom Boom Mancini fight. So
man.
that's my earliest memories. So I'm not going to act like I remember the effect that he had. To me, he was just an old boxer. When you have to go backwards, so that effect. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the effect on me is not that strong.
Right.
Like, I just know the figure. What about you, man?
Younger, yes. The effect, different. Because even when I get my youngest memories of boxing was really Roy and the ones that I really, really loved the most was when Roy got sabotaged in Korea. Everything around that area. That's when I started. Me being a history buff, I go backwards from there just because I've always done that. But the thing about Ali was, my family taught me the things that he did outside of the ring. When he saved the guy from committing suicide when he ran into the building, that ain't got nothing to do with boxing. Mm-hmm. My family that went to Vietnam talked about how he stood up for against that war. That ain't got nothing to do with boxing.
Mm-hmm.
When he joined the nation, because I have family members that are Muslim. They've been Muslim since before I was even born. When he joined the nation at a time where the nation was considered kind of like a terrorist group, when the KKK was just all American people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, so what he stood for me was way past boxing, because he in my household and in some of the people I know households, we have high regard for certain people, because America changes the history of people. Mm-hmm. But when people bring up Martin Luther King, they bring up Martin Luther King that we don't necessarily. They bring up that I have a dream. They don't bring up the guy that spoke out against the war. They don't bring out the guy that's talked about economic empowerment. So when we think of King, that's the King we think of. We think of Malcolm X. He's in that Medgar Evers, that Toussaint Louverture, that Marcus Garvey, kind of mode where it's beyond boxing because of the things he stood for. There's a lot of great boxing champs, but what he did, when a man could be in a comic book beating up Superman, and years later actually be in the running for being Superman that y'all, the Christopher Reeves that we know, that means he had a very, very big impact. And for that's the person that I have been accustomed to through my family telling me what's up, because he was a person among people. Mm-hmm. They tell me, like, look, man, you could talk to him, you could walk up to him. He was a good person who cared about people. And in this era just of athletes, we don't think most athletes are personable. Mm-hmm. And we don't think most athletes just care about you as a human being. And that's where he just stands, even if at the risk of getting in trouble with the whole country. So yeah, he means a lot.
Well, if you think about this, and this is why I kind of wanted to talk about outside the ring, because my memories are on the old school, on VCR and DVDs, and now on YouTube. And the reason I think that people called him the greatest was because of all encompassing. Look, if he wasn't as good in the ring, he would have never been as big outside of the ring. Right. So he couldn't have been one without the other.
Right.
And you were talking about where he came from or what he did and what he stood for. And you think about, when he came back from the Olympics and he didn't get served, and so he threw away his gold medal, right? But he went from a guy who couldn't get served in a restaurant to a guy who admittedly told, I think Larry Merchant was saying this, that I could go down, and they're flying over and he's looking at all the houses. I could go walk up to every one of those houses, and not only would they know who I was, they would invite me into their house. Mm-hmm. And he didn't know what race they were, nothing like that. So that's where in America, he helped bridge that gap, where he went from a guy who was hated by a lot of white people to beloved by everyone. And that's why, of course, everybody's going to do the iconic pictures of him. Like when I put on Twitter, the picture I put was the '96 Olympics, because in my lifetime, that was his most iconic moment.
Right. Because
all the in-ring stuff was already done as far as his iconic moment. So for me, that was a big one. And you remember when that happened, that was such a huge deal. Like Ali, and the poor guy burned the hell out of himself doing that, but he wasn't going to stop. But at that point, and then you saw how the Parkinson's had already taken over. It was already a slow process. We saw him, we've seen him in interviews, stuff like that. But I think that image is one that's stuck in people's mind. It's one of the images that you're always going to see. To me, it's like the second most iconic picture of him, besides the standing over.
Foreman?
Yeah.
Or Liston.
Sonny Liston. That, to me, that's the most iconic picture of him, and that, to me, that's why he was the greatest, because he was all encompassing. I'll put this here. I'll put this into a hip hop reference. Here it is. That's why he may not have been the best boxer ever, but he's one of them.
Yeah.
But you can argue that he's not. But when you talk about the biggest star ever in boxing, he's it.
Yeah.
He's the greatest at that. It's kind of the Tupac effect. Like, nobody can ever compare to
anybody else.
The reach that he had socially, in acting, and in the music. Like, it was when you when you have a guy like Gene Siskel on Siskel and Ebert talking about how an amazing actor you were in a shitty movie.
It means something.
It means something. And when they actually had real movie critics. But that's what and the reason that I bring up stuff like that is because I can only imagine the older generation who got to see him in those times when what he did was so revolutionary, in the ring, outside the ring, standing up against the government and changing the rules basically of a draft. You know what I mean? Could you, like, it's so stupid because I don't have a lot of that stuff because we're younger. We don't have those moments, those same kind of moments. But I remember being in California in those moments when the Rodney King stuff happened and NWA came out, and not the movie, the real stuff. But that feeling of being part of something, like you felt like you were part of it. And I think that's where he was the greatest, because the people of that generation feel like they were a part of something special. And I don't think anybody's ever going to be able to can recreate that.
I'm going to divulge some information to show how deep this runs sometimes. In my family, people like him we always pass down history as a tradition. And what I mean by that is, people seem to forget when Jack Johnson was the champion, people got lynched when he won. People have family members who know of the people who got lynched or know where it happened and stuff like that. The same thing happened kind of like with Joe Louis, where, when Max Mellon, when he lost to Max Mellon, he wasn't nobody. But then when he beat Max Mellon, he won for the country. But there were still people coming up missing if he won because they didn't like it. You get what I'm saying? So I have those family members who had to work in those houses where they still had the postcards and lynchings at the white family's house. Like, I know of those stories. Like, I have those family members who are actual my blood relatives who are a little lighter than us because their mother was raped by a white guy. So my uncle's light, and he has a different last name, and my other uncles are dark because and my great granddad or somebody had to raise, or great uncle had to raise him like he was one of them. That part of the history is part of the reason why he stands among people. Like I have the family members who actually had their land stolen. I know them, like who got their land stolen and got ran out of town. So somebody is living on my family's land right now as a millionaire because they were able to profit from that kind of thing. And what he represents when people decided to just say, you know what, we're gonna have to fight for this one now. I'm kind of sick of that. We're gonna have to fight for this one. And that's part of the history of, like, I bring other people like Fred Hampton. Like, that's the thing that he was unapologetically a man at the time, a black man at the time, knowing they will kill you. And that did a lot for my community, because it's like, you know what? We already know we're going to get killed, so why don't we just stand and fight? And even when you talked about other people, he stood up. He wasn't just standing up. He stood up for us first, but he stood up for everybody. You know what I'm saying? People act like he stood up for Dundee. Dundee ain't black. You know what I'm saying? He stood up for Asians. They ain't. He stood up for anybody who felt like they was getting bullied and oppressed. If Ali was around and he was going to open his mouth, he was going to tell somebody straight up, these people are good people. You ain't shit. Mm-hmm. And that, everything, and the crazy part about that, everything in the ring made it icing on the cake. Mm-hmm. Because is a great man who was you could say he was a great boxer that became a great man, or was he a great man first who became a great boxer? You don't really know.
I don't think there's one. Like I said, I don't think there's one without the other. And it's funny because you're talking about helping black people, but helping all people.
Yeah.
And I showed you that picture.
Yeah.
My uncle, my grandma's brother, who was an activist in Central California in the 70s, and they fought for equality and in the same types of ways where you weren't allowed in the schools, right, and you weren't allowed to use the restrooms and all that same thing, where they had what they were called Mexican schools. That's right. What they and something that you learned was how the desegregation started was from that. But Ali was there with him, and I have the picture, them together. So because anytime that he felt people were oppressed or taken advantage of, he didn't like it. You can even go to the Howard Cosell thing, how him and Howard, got along so well. Mm-hmm. I remember when Howard Cosell got fired for his quote unquote racist comment. Mm-hmm. He's like, no, he's not racist. He stood up for him. And then they go back and they're like, oh, that same monkey line he used on the white players as well, right? Because he called his kids little monkeys when they were jumping around, right? And so but when he saw injustice, he didn't care who it was, and that's what made him the greatest.
Yeah, one of my favorites, man. I mean, it's. I look at death differently as I get older, so it's not necessarily a loss; it's more of a transcendence. So, my Muslim family members would say, Allah be with you. So that's how I'm going to just leave it at that,
That's good.
Because great guy.
And, and that's the one thing I wanted to do with our quote-unquote tribute was let the older generation, like Larry Merchant, like he was on Steve Kim's show, because he was there with them a lot of time, let him talk about the in-ring stuff. Let the foremans and those guys talk about that stuff, and the guys who were there. Let's talk about the outside, That's because everybody's going to give you the in-ring stuff. We can go through the Foreman and Frazier, all that good stuff. But I'm going to give you. I thought we'd do it differently, instead of everybody hearing the same kind of tribute. You know what I mean?
And plus that, we don't serve Negroes. I don't eat them. That was just like his sense of humor was impeccable, man.
Exactly.
Let's get into the action, man.
All right. This past weekend, we know it's all about the HBO card. That was where it was at. Orlando Salido, Fernando. God darn, that happened so many times. They did that on the telecast itself.
It happened.
Francisco Vargas. Fernando Vargas was in the corner of Gabe Rosado earlier than that, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, a majority draw. Francisco Vargas edged it on one card, and then two cards, 114, 114. I'll say the one before I let you go on it. I was just glad I put my little quick show out on Friday. I was like, I want to get out there because almost everybody was picking Vargas. And I was like, I don't know. I like Salido. And if you had to poll me, I would say if there's one person who should have won, it would have been Salido. And I'm fine with the draw.
That was a battle of wills and a war. Salido finished stronger. Whew. That was you hit me. I took 2 steps back. I ain't finna let this slide. You know, that was a classic battle of two men. That's what that's when the challenger was trying to take it, and the champion wasn't trying to give it away. And great, like people say, fight of the year. Yeah, you pretty much. I mean, was he with
Glowacki and Cunningham?
Huh?
Glowacki Cunningham, maybe?
Oh no, it was the other one though. It was another one. The Japanese guy. The other draw. On the LA Fight Club.
Oh, yeah, Kamagai and Soto Cross.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
Yeah. and it's funny because usually when you think of fight of the years, it's usually multiple knockdowns. No knockdowns in those fights. Isn't that crazy?
Exactly, but they were going at it. And I'm raising my hand because I want a rematch. I want to see that again. I want a rematch. That's the only no. You forget the politics. The fans are already entertained. Matter of fact, you could walk away from the TV and hear the crowd. Mm-hmm. That's when you know it's on. When you I'm like, what the hell just happened?
You know what's funny? Just talking about that, just itself. You know, I always say I ain't buying no tickets, but that was one I wish I'd bought a ticket to. You know, it's rare that you're like, man, I wish I was there at that time. You know, even watching, you know, when you watch Mayweather and Pacquiao, none of you was like, man, I wish I had bought a ticket. To that. Nah, I'm good. Yeah. I saved myself a lot of money if I was one of those kind of fans. You know,
they wanted the event. They wanted to go to the event, but not necessarily the fight. This, the fight was the event.
Exactly.
Oh man.
It was youth versus experience, and you saw a lot of experience in Salido because, well, he hit that hip and that thigh a lot of times. Every time Kais would go to the other side, he hit him. Look, Salido's dirty. He breaks the rules, and so when he gets caught and gets taken a point, you know, here's what I don't understand, right? I even covered for Salido on the Lomachenko fight, but if you're fighting him, why aren't you giving it back? You know, like even you know when Tyson bit Holyfield's ear, there was even a part of me was like,
why is it?
Yeah, you headbutt the wrong guy. Eventually, you're going to headbutt the wrong guy. You know, it's like,
yeah, you're right.
But
you're right.
It's like the guy in the street, you know, who gives dirty looks to everybody. Eventually, you're going to give a dirty look to the wrong guy, and nobody's going to feel bad for you when they overreact because you built that up. So that was part of me when he bit his ear. I was like, hey, you finally headbutted the craziest man in the world, in the boxing world at least. It was going to happen eventually.
And they warned you the first fight.
That's exactly right. And what happened? Was it round 1? A cut right away from a headbutt.
Now I'm thinking about it. You know what I like about Salido? Would you say that? He's dirty like Michael Jordan.
Dirty like Larry Bird, too.
Yeah, but Larry Bird was dirty, but he was just as dirty, but it's like Mike learned his tactics and got smoother. That's what I mean. Like, Salido got smooth because it's like once he hunches over and he gets close to you, you know some dirty shit about to happen.
And think about this. He gave himself an out on all the dirty tactics, right? Like, look, I took this fight after he failed a drug test. So if I hit him in the hip a few times and give him a little headbutt, so be it.
But you gotta give it to him. He's smooth. He knows where he's at. He knows where the ref at. He knows ref can't see this one. The cameraman, shut up. You know, the announcer, shut up. You know, he that is his experience. That's a person that you wouldn't want to like. If he knows how to be dirty on camera in front of a referee, would you ever cross his path when there's no cameras and no referee? No, you're not. You really gonna get fucked up fucking with Salido right now.
You know, and after Lomachenko fights this week, he may get a rematch.
Oh man!
And I can go ahead and I can give everybody the reason you know, well, I'll get back to that. I'm gonna get back to that Lomachenko-Salido thing because I think we're gonna talk about that next week. I can really get into that, and I'll break down because for the people who never heard of it, why I think Salido did what he did in that first fight against Lomachenko. Yeah. There's a reason for it. When you come up a hard way, it's hard to respect the guy who's handed something. In life, it doesn't matter if it's in sport or in life. When you've busted your ass and paid all your dues to reach a certain pinnacle in your career, when somebody else has kind of just handed it to them, there's some resentment there. Like,
I can't think of this guy's name. He's an investor.
Uh-huh.
He was one of the first people I think he invested also like in Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. Like before, because he was rich before they,
Yeah.
And he was sitting in a college talking to the students, and he says, "When I was a kid, we were poor, and I had to walk with my mother like 4 or 5 miles to the store to get not napkins, but paper towels, and paper towels and toilet paper, and we would walk home and then cut them in half to save them so we could use them." He said, "Now, I know it doesn't mean anything to you college kids, but that's why I don't have no fear for y'all. I know y'all ain't built like that.
Yeah.
The things that I have done and I'm willing to do.
Yeah, you're not willing to make those sacrifices.
Yeah, so I already know. That's my edge. You don't have that because you don't know what it's like to come from that. And when you look at Salido, it's like, that's a tough motherfucker. Well, just a tough motherfucker.
When you're a 15-year-old pro boxer and you get knocked out in 5 of your first 15 fights.
And you keep fighting.
And you eventually become a world champion.
You a tough motherfucker.
But as far as the fight goes, I mean, it was back and forth. A lot of it was back and forth.
Yeah.
A lot of those rounds, it could have went either way. I think a lot of those rounds could have went either way. And there was a point, where it seemed like Salido was starting to really kind of grasp control of how he wanted that fight to go. And you saw, maybe it was round 7 or 8, that Vargas kind of went into a more boxer posture where he's jabbing and moving around a little bit more. And it's like, and as much as it was effective and you saw it, it made you think, Salido's got him. Salido's got to him. And even though he won some of those rounds doing that, you knew if Salido steps on the gas again, I think he's going. Yeah, and going. I had it 5-5 after 10, and I gave Salido the last 2 rounds, and that's where he edged it on my card. 115, 130. But again, like I said, draw, no big deal. Nothing lost. I mean, yeah, it sucks for those guys.
Yeah.
To get to, and Salido throws the jab at Canelo. Just line him up with all the other Mexican fighters who've been doing it. I don't know if you caught that in the press. No. I mean, in the post fight, when he said, "No, we fight like real Mexicans in the ring." Oh. To me, it only just sounded like a jab at Canelo, because he was fighting a Mexican. So I don't know who else he could have been talking about.
I got you. I didn't.
As soon as I heard it, like, oh, that's another jab at Canelo.
I got to give a shout out to Vargas for this. The reason it was a draw is really because he rocked Salido. That's pretty much it. Because those wobbles was like, oh, okay, we gonna give you that. But yeah, Salido finished that fight strong. And if they would have had a rematch, I'm not gonna lie, I would favor Salido in a rematch.
And the funny thing is when he got rocked, you're like, you fucked up, Vargas.
Yeah,
you done woke him up, man. and it would only take a few more punches. Like, oh, here comes Salido. But we'll see. I think Salido, Lomachenko 2 is probably going to happen because Vargas, I don't think is going to fight the rest of the year, man. Those eyes are jacked. They are jacked. The lead-in fight, Julian Ramirez, Abraham Lopez. Abraham Lopez gets the unanimous decision and wide margins at that, where 99, I think, maybe at least 95% of people thought Julian Ramirez won this fight. In a fight, I had it close. I had it 96-94. But I thought, yeah, like let's play. It's 96-94. But just watching it from afar, if you didn't score the rounds, you're like, Ramirez won this fight. But because of how fights are scored, if it had been a draw, I'd have been okay. I think he won, but you know what? you switch around here, draw, no problem. It would have kind of been like Danny Garcia, Robert Guerrero, where sitting back watching that fight, I tell you, Danny Garcia won that fight. But when I added the scores as I was going, I'm like, I got this fight even though I think Garcia is winning this fight. But you have to do it round by round. Even round by round, I don't see how you get 6 rounds, let alone 7, because he won 97, 93, and 98, 92 on these cards. I don't see how it's possible to get him Lopez to 97.
Well, the check cleared.
Well,
but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
If you want to know what that fight was, just look when they raise Lopez's hand as the winner. How he'll look over and he's like, I ain't, it's not like that, and that's pretty much the gist of it. Like, it was a closer fight than that, but if the winner gives the loser that look, like, yeah, man,
And then going into the 10th round, Joel Diaz kind of took over even though he was chief second, he took over.
Yeah. You better do something.
Yeah, he's telling him. He's pretty much, his corner's telling him, you're losing this fight. So when your corner's telling you you're losing this fight, and you somehow win by 5-6 point margins, something's funny happening, which I don't really get, but I guess because Lopez was pretty highly touted before he took that time off, maybe they got bigger plans for. I honestly don't know. I kind of made the reference to George Groves, James DeGale, where they were at in their careers when they fought, is where I thought these guys were kind of at in this fight. I edged Ramirez because of the no layoff, where Lopez was he's still working out stuff. But like that fight where Groves won, but DeGale has done more, you might get that with these two guys too, where Ramirez may go on to do more. I think if he drops down to 122, which is where he really wants to fight, I think he may get more out of 122 than Lopez gets out of 126 and 130, wherever he goes.
I think this Fiat loss could be one of the better things that happened to him, because he's going to be like, I'm going to get these assholes out of here. Because that will leave a bad taste in your mouth. It's just... And I'm a stickler for this. And it doesn't matter who it is. If you work hard and you earn something, and somebody just basically swipes it from you for their own agenda, I'm not cool with that. And that's what it looks like. So, not just with Ramirez, but just fights like this in general. It's like y'all already had the winner planned out before they got into the ring. Y'all didn't let this happen.
And if Lopez somehow scores a fight real soon with Jojo Diaz, it shows me that they had an agenda going into it. It actually confirms that they had an agenda going into it. Because you hand Jojo Diaz an undefeated prospect who just had a big win on HBO.
And I hope you whip his ass too. Because if they do that, at least Jojo Diaz know if they could cheat to get him here, they could cheat for him, for him to beat me. So I'm gonna have to beat the brakes off of him.
And it's funny, that fight started off fast but fizzled.
Couldn't, I guess that the epitome of what older fighters say to younger fighters about taking them to deep waters. Mm-hmm. Because if you had an older fighter at the time it fizzled, they would have took over the fight, or a more experienced fighter. So.
Like a teenager with a girl. Started off with a bang. 10 minutes later, they were taking a nap. You know what I mean?
I promise you, it's going to be better the next time.
You said that last time. I'll wear 2 of them, I promise.
He starts your stopwatch. This was 3 minutes and 37 seconds.
I think I might have went too far with that one.
You animal. You
was it ESPN had the fights? BBC and ESPN?
I think that was Spike.
No, the second one was ESPN. Artur Beterbiev, his return. 4-round stoppage over Moderna. What can you say? Beterbiev looked strong, but I don't know what he's going to do. You know, I mean, who's he going to secure a fight against? From far? Maybe. He looks strong, but he looks susceptible. He looks like a guy who can be in some really good fights. You might put him in against who's the guy that Thomas Williams just beat? He's going to fight Adonis Stevenson.
Yeah, boo.
Edwin Rodriguez.
That will work.
That'll work, right? It's a good step-up fight. It's a name. A guy who's been in the ring with good fighters. Because, you know, like he's not ready for Kovalev. And he's not getting Adonis Stevenson anytime soon.
Who's getting Adonis Stevenson? That's the question.
Thomas.
No. Who's getting Adonis Stevenson? That's the question.
But I mean, he's back from his shoulder surgery, and got a knockout. So you get,
that, you know what's the cool thing about this though? Because we both were sticklers, like we wanted to see the PBC have exciting fights or more exciting fights. We can now say they have some entertaining fights. Now we need more consistent matchups.
Yeah, the matchups are.
Yeah,
they got a good card.
Yeah,
this weekend, the best card of the weekend. But in the Spike card was, and I didn't watch it. And I was going to watch it, and then when I heard what happened, I'm not watching the fight. Francis Bartholomew, unanimous decision over Mickey Bay.
Hold on.
Yeah,
I need to eat a lot of crow and say I don't know what the fuck I was talking about because Francis beat the brakes. Mickey Bay one-on-one. One of the judges called him. No. If Mickey Bay hit him with 2, Francis hit him with 5.
And I said I going into the fight. I like Bartholomew, unanimous decision, and I never liked that guy who works his ass off for a title and gives it up so easily. Which turned around and did the same thing as Bartholomew already drops his lightweight title, his IBF title. You know why? Because he's probably going to fight Robert Easter Jr., who's probably, look, people can say what they want. They can put Crawler on there and, goddamn, what's the other British guy? And
Big Back.
Yeah.
You know who we're talking about.
Bartholomew, you put Bartholomew up there, you put Bay up there. But for me, Robert Easter Jr. is the best lightweight in the world right now. Better than Verdejo. He beats them all, as far as I'm concerned.
What did that one that looked like a bulldog? Yeah, he beat his ass too.
He really. I mean, that's how I feel. I mean, I know the Brits got some good lightweights, but I just think Robert Easter is a different level character, and you saw what he did against Argenis Mendez, his last fight, who is a guy who had 2 pretty good fights with Bartholomew, even though Bartholomew got him on the knockout on the ground where they had to no contest and run it back, and Bartholomew won that one. But the fact that they dumped the belt already, why watch that fight? Now why go back and watch that fight? Right? As soon as I saw that yesterday, I was like, all right. Because, like you said, it was graduation weekend. I didn't watch any fights till Monday. So, like, Monday I'm going to watch those. Tuesday I'm going to watch the Spike card. Yeah. Oh, Bartholomew dropped his belt. Guess what? I don't need to watch it because this was a fight for nothing then. Why fight then? You paid a sanctioning fee to fucking drop a belt. You dumb motherfucker. I mean, think about how stupid that is.
Well,
why pay the fee?
First of all, let me get into. I still forgot that Bay dropped the belt at first when I did the podcast. I was like, he still got. Like, oh shit, yeah, whatever. Now, can we get into the conversation about this belt stuff that we were having before we started the show? We talked a long time ago about these belts are not being respected and it's going to have a bad effect. So now we're seeing the bad effect. And we came to an agreement that, look, your ass drop a belt, you don't need to get no more title shots.
Not for that one. Mickey Bates has never been in for that shot. They do like I said, they did with Riddick Bowe. Well, you're never going to get ranked again by, when he threw the belt in. Well, that sanctioned by never ranked him again. So the IBF ordered Richard Kami, who I have no idea who that is. I'm not even gonna lie, against Robert Easter for the vacant title. That they ordered that one already. You know who I like. I don't even need to know who the other guy is. I like Robert Easter.
And the new.
Other fights announced earlier today. Chris Arreola, Deontay Wilder. This is something I talked about on my quick show. Is look, I get it. I do. I get it. Povetkin, he did you dirty for not getting that fight. But that doesn't mean you just go back to fighting that same kind of level of competition. Because what it shows me is that this is the kind of competition you want to fight. And you'll only fight the top guys when you have to fight. You know, it's a bad precedent, especially when he still has a lot to learn. That he has one good attribute, and it's his power. I mean, it just, why not even like I even made the joke that it would be Gerald Washington who's the 15th in WBC, but at least he's showed something. You know what I mean?
I said it. I warned of this. I said, if you're in London and you got all them damn heavyweights, y'all need to make a fight. Now this is where I decide to make a left turn. What the fuck are you doing? Because truth be told, you're never gonna get better doing this bullshit.
No, that's the whole point.
You're never gonna build a legacy doing this bullshit. You were in London. Okay, you got screwed with the Povetkin fight. I feel you. I feel you, because even what is the Sharapova girl? She's getting 2 years off of that same drug in tennis. I get it, and now it's cemented because she had just got that suspension. Like, no, if you kept using that, you was on one. So now, Povetkin, you was on that bullshit.
No.
Second, you got Dylan White. You wasn't gonna take the Joshua fight, I guess. Hay and Briggs are fighting each other though.
But you're gonna tell me one of those? You don't tell me those guys wouldn't? You gonna tell me David Hay wouldn't jump at the?
No, they would. Because it would be a title fight.
Yeah, David Hay would have said, "Briggs, bye."
You're right, but that's the you were in London. Like, that was a prime time to make. Look, man, if this fight don't go through, one of us, we gonna have to hook up, and somebody gonna have to, we gonna have to make one of these good fights happen. Because, no disrespect to Chris, and I understand, he probably needs a payday or wants a payday, and that's what's going on. Okay, fine. But this, at this rate, just give Seth Mitchell another shot.
I would have taken Derek Chisora over Chris Arreola.
Thank you, Derek Chisora.
At this point, I would have taken him. It just shows a bad mentality, path of least resistance. All these fighters love it anymore.
I mean, if it's a power fight, if it's the power fest, and you feel like you the bomber, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just had this issue, and you want to beat somebody's ass, and somebody had pissed you off with the steroid thing, not making the test, fight calm. So you can beat the brakes off of somebody who's tested positive before. Mm-hmm. It sounds weird, but at the same time, they have all of these options out here, and it's just, what are you doing? What are you doing? And the only reason I'm saying this was, remember when he fought to win a title, he actually had to learn some boxing to hold on to that. So he had to put something new in his game to get better. Now you just sitting on bullshit.
He's going backwards. So he's gonna basically have a title for 2 years before he fights anyone worthwhile.
And this is where you turn this is where you begin to turn into the American version of Adonis Stevenson. This is when it's like people like, you could have got a pass because the heavyweight division, even when he won the title, it was light. Mm-hmm. It ain't light no more.
No, there's people to fight. One other fight that was announced, the IBF Eliminator for the welterweight. Did you see this?
Go for it, man.
All right, the IBF Eliminator for Kell Brooks belt. Errol Spence Jr. No problem. Versus Leonard Bundu? Fucking Bundu? I mean, look, the names you
went international, right?
You went over Peterson in the rank, just in their rankings. You skip names that there was other guys on there that I hadn't really seen too much of, but you skip guys like Peterson and you skip Sammy Vasquez.
Wait. Didn't Peterson hold a belt?
At 140.
Huh?
This is at 140. This is 147.
You did, but
yeah, he did hold IBF at 140.
So maybe this is them. Now, the irony of it is, are you telling me the IBF is holding off Peterson for shitting on their belt, but at the same time, you get what I'm saying?
But okay.
I'm just saying.
But how do you get to Bundu, who's like I think 9 or 10 in that thing? You go past like a Sammy Vasquez who's undefeated and actually been impressing. The who can Mex can, baby.
And that would have actually been an exciting eliminator fight.
Yeah.
That would Vasquez, Spence, that's action. Say what you want. That's action.
Mm-hmm.
Bundu, that's ass whipping.
Yeah.
That's ass whipping. Now, okay. So who else was above Bundu?
Those are the two names. One of the guys they hadn't updated because he had just lost. Cool. But honestly, the guys that nobody stood out above. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So.
But I'm saying you could have put Ball, Bull, Soda Popinski. If y'all remember Mike Tyson's Punch Out, I got them names. You lucky I forgot the other guy.
You could have put Glass Joe. I mean, Amir Khan.
Thank you.
Same guy.
I mean, now he's back. He'd be back to 147.
It is what it is, man. I just saw it and I shook my head. Let's finish it out. Look, we went backwards. We went news and notes. Now let's move it up. This weekend, two cards. HBO Showtime. Those are the ones we're going to talk about. Zhu Shiming starts off the HBO telecast. Coming to America.
He got off the milk carton.
To America. Yeah, because the guy who beat him just got knocked out. So he's like, I'm ready to go. And give Zhu Shiming credit, man, because he did improve and he actually fought a tough guy. He got beat by a tough guy for a title. He's coming to America, and I guess they finally said, fuck it. I mean, if he can't win a title in China, send his ass out to America and see what he can do. I don't know what. I guess you hope to see growth, right? Because it's what we had seen up until the point that he lost to Runrong. So hopefully because I mean he's getting old.
I gotta get before. I want to speak on this, but I got to give you credit for this first. You always would say, nobody really cares if you're undefeated. And that's part of the not caring. If you fighting tough competition, people don't care if it ain't the best for your record, but damn, few people just get out with an O. So I got to give credit to Shiming for, okay, dude, you back. Came to this country, you got off the milk carton, you fighting, you have improved. And at the same time, I want to see how much has he improved since then.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's got, I guess, a full training camp at Wild Card with Freddie. We'll see what he's got. Felix Verdejo's fighting something Martinez guy.
Killing me, man.
Felix Verdejo's a guy who may end up on a milk carton pretty soon.
Killing me.
You talk about a guy who's fallen off tremendously from being one of the top prospects in all of boxing to a guy that people are like, this fool needs to start doing something.
This is the point where I'm not gonna take a shot at Felix Verdejo per se, but I'm gonna say he might need to check his team, because to be on a fast track and then to be on a sidewalk and then to be back on a fast track and then to be back, somebody don't know what the hell they doing.
I think that ever since he hurt his hands, that he hasn't been the same. And I think he's trying to figure out what's his new way of boxing, because I think his hands are giving him problems every fight now. If you notice, he doesn't, all of a sudden his power is not there like it was. And I think he's trying to figure out how the hell he's going to box and or somehow get past his hand problems.
But I mean, if you had a good team, you're like, okay, you got hand problems. So we're going to have to find you good opponents that challenge the things that you're not as good at. You got to be better. It may be better. He may still be a better fighter than them. But okay, this guy, he gives up the body shots. So maybe we could get your body work A1. That way you don't, bust your hands up, when you're going for the gut shots or the ribs, as you would for the head. Even though you might catch an elbow, I understand that, but
maybe you get him a guy with big punch and no chin. So he'll go down, but he poses as a big threat.
Right. Exactly. Like,
way to to match make.
His team got to do a better job
and he needs to do a better job. When you got a guy in there that you got to get him out.
If you can't get him out, beat him till the ref stops it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like I don't understand them. Like, because and the reason I said it is this. It's rare that you can find, and taking back to the beginning of the Ali reference, it's rare that you can find a young guy who is so self-aware. So I don't think Verdejo is that self-aware to say, look, I need to take control of this situation and make it put it back on track. Because right now, as a fan, I'm like,
Mm-hmm. Now, that's pretty much where everybody's at with him. That's his problem.
You went from a person that's like, I want to see.
Yeah.
I wasn't overly impressed with him, but I'm like, okay, I could see some of the good things they're saying. But the constant the yo-yo, it's like, whatever. Let's see him when he's for real.
Exactly. Vasil Lomachenko versus Rocky Martinez for the junior lightweight title.
Let's go, Rocco! Okay.
Lomachenko needs to impress, as far as I'm concerned. He's gotten to a mode where I can outbox you so easily that I don't step on the gas and I kind of just go through the motions. Kind of white or Ukrainian, whatever the hell he is.
Same thing.
Rigondeaux-ish.
They're the same fighter.
They are, and this is what happens when you get guys who have such extensive amateur careers when they outpointed most of their opponents. And look, for as great as Lomachenko is, technically, he's boring to watch. He's become boring to watch. His fights were exciting because this guy was in his second fight, fighting Orlando Salido. That was exciting. That saying that was exciting. Like, oh, a second fight. Wow. Now, even though he got taken to school, to professional school by Orlando Salido, and, Salido,
Russell. Yeah.
he came in 3 pounds or 2 pounds overweight and said, fuck it, you can have the title. And I'll get back to that on that one next week. and he still took him to school. And then the third fight against Russell was exciting because, he was coming back in that Salido fight. He learned a lot. He's 1-1. This is only his third fight. He's fighting for a title. That was exciting. But since then, it's been like, can you remember any of his other fights? Can you remember any moments of his other fights? Like, really, for real? Like,
no, I remember him schooling Russell, and I remember him getting his ass whipped by Salido and not being dirty.
But after
other than that,
you don't remember anything.
No.
His fights are forgettable.
Now, I want to say this. And this might be cold, but truth is, you ain't fighting Walters. I don't give a shit. I don't know what y'all. The minute that fight fell through, and for the reasons that we were seeing the fight, and it's not completely on Lomachenko. It's not completely on Walters. There's also a management and HBO problem. But the minute that fight fell through, I was like, I don't give a shit.
And he needs to impress. He needs to dominate Martinez. I think he will, but it needs to be impressive because Rocky Martinez 3 years ago was dominated by Mikey Garcia. Did anybody say Mikey Garcia may be the best technical boxer in the world? No. Mikey Garcia dominated Orlando Salido until he got headbutted and cut or whatever. Remember that? It was like an eighth round. Dominated Orlando Salido. Those are two fighters you're going to measure up to somebody like Mikey Garcia. Like Mikey Garcia 3 years ago is going to beat these guys, maybe, depending on what happens, in more impressive fashion than you could. And you're supposed to be the supreme talent. You need to show it, not just have everybody sing your praises. Show it.
There's a reason why Michael Jordan was considered the greatest. But more so is a reason why people have love for Allen Iverson. And I'm gonna make this, and I'm using it to make this reference. When people talk about Allen Iverson, they're like, "Why?" His teammates say, "Why are you doing this stuff?" and you say, "Yo, I gotta go hard." I don't know. I don't look. These people. This might be the last time these people who buy these tickets see me, so I gotta go hard. So what I'm saying is, like, AI would tell you gotta go hard, because first and foremost, it's a bullshit fight for me, just as a fan. It's a bullshit fight because if it ain't the Walters fight, you went from Walters to Martinez. No disrespect to him, you know what I'm saying, but where would your excitement be out of the two?
Exactly.
So if you don't go hard,
because remember, you're the guy who came out and wanted a title shot right away. So you need to be fighting the upper tier fighters of each division. And as much as Martinez is a champion, I don't see him as. I think that Orlando Salido fought a better champion at 130.
Yes.
Than Lomachenko did.
Yeah, and let's take it just a bit further. We talked about once Floyd and Manny retire, who's going to take over? And I was like, it's a race to be the king of the hill. Maybe, just in my opinion, maybe a lot of the current generation of boxers have no aspiration to actually be the king of the hill. They just want, one day I want to grow up and I want to be the champ. They never wanted to be the baddest man on the planet. They never wanted to be the biggest star in boxing. They just wanted to get a belt. That was as far as they. And now that they're there and they're on the precipice of seeing it, dude, I could take this higher. I don't think a lot of them have the testicular or intestinal fortitude to say, you know what? Shit, let's just see how far we can go with this. And that's a part of the problem, not just with Lomachenko, but even though I like Rigo, even Canelo at this point. Who else could? That's why, in a sense, we're like, what the fuck has Danny Garcia been doing?
He is getting ready to fight Andre Berto.
I don't even know how to feel about it. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I know Andre gonna come to fight, so I know it's gonna make Danny fight. But as you said, Berto has been getting beat early in these fights, and he's coming. So I'm not. So like I said, I don't know how to feel about the fight. I really don't. But who's gonna take? Like the only two people. There's only two people I can think of off the top of my head that I could say, you know what? No, three. I could say that Kovalev is trying to push it to be the man. Mm-hmm. I could say that Ward trying to push it to be the man because he's like, man, fuck it, I got to fight Kovalev, I'm going to do it. And I could say Triple G was pushing it to be the man because I'm going to unify these titles. Mm-hmm. Everybody else, when we talk about marketing, okay, I would say Adrian Broner is probably the best self-marketer in boxing because of his, because he's so polarizing. Other than that, nobody's really. No. And this is just, as a fan, I'm like, I'm glad for East. I'm glad for Spence. You know what I'm saying? When Mikey Garcia get off that milk carton, I'm going to be glad when he come back.
If he fights everybody.
Yeah, I personally, I wish Abner would find his mojo again.
We'll find out.
And even giving a shout out to somebody that I won't admit this to already, but he'll know who I'm talking about. Hey, let me see Nonito show up again. I'm just saying.
The Showtime card, which I think is the better card. One, you have a fun fight, which I think can only go one way. Ruslan Provodnikov and John Molina Jr. Look, Provodnikov's going to beat the shit out of him. Molina's been done for a while. He has one win over the last 3 years. He was done when we fought Broner. Couldn't pull. He's at that point now where he doesn't pull the trigger like he used to. His last hurrah was the Matisse fight, which was a couple years ago. Ruslan's going to beat the shit out of him. I say in 4-5 rounds. But it's going to be a fun fight, though, those 5 rounds. But you feel bad for Molina. Yeah. But I think that's a fun fight. I think it's going to be the entertainment that you probably don't get out of Lomachenko and Martinez. Mm-hmm. And then the undercard, where Verdejo has yet to impress in the last year and a half and still fighting low-level competition. I think you got a 50-50 fight against two of the better 154 fighters, maybe better, maybe two of the top ones who never get any shine, and Demetrius Andrade and Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson, he came off to win Tony Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
Took forever for him to get another fight. He fought 3 months ago. That's key. That's a big key, because the only reason I think this is a 50-50 fight, because I think Andrade is the better fighter, the better boxer. But the reason I think it's 50-50 is because at least Nelson had a fight 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Andrade hasn't fought in 8 months, 9 months, and before that it was a year. He has one fight or two fights in like two and a half years. He's so inactive that this closes the gap in this fight, where I would think that Andre would probably outbox him, score a nice 8-4 win, where this now gets to that 7-5, 6-6 range, where, and Nelson is feeling good about himself. You know what I mean? Like, he beat the prospect, he got his fight. So he, the one thing he's going to come in supremely confident and not rusty. He's going to come in sharper. I think that closes the gap. I'm still going to lead Andrade in a close fight, like 115, 113. But, I mean, this is a really, really close fight, because Nelson can bring it to him. And he wins the fight. I ain't shocked at all.
I'm in agreement with you 100%. I'm just going to say something I'm just looking at from afar, just as some of you guys, some of you fighters who are in the PBC camp, y'all going to have to press Al for some fights.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he don't want to pay out a certain amount. Maybe y'all going to have to press him and say, look, man, I'll take less money, but I need to stay active. You know, I mean, everybody under, Floyd is his homeboy, and even Floyd said back in the day when he was at Top Rank, he's like, look, okay, just put me back on the board. I understand I'm not going to get paid. Y'all going to have to, because...
Well, here's the funny thing, and with those two, is they are fighting on a PBC card, but neither one of them are Al Heyman clients.
They're going to still have to press him.
No, but what I'm saying
I get
is
you. I get exactly what you're
that
saying.
makes it seem like that's why it's harder for them to grab fights.
Andre
didn't call everybody. I want to knock out the Charlos. I'm going to beat Laura. I'm going to fight Golovkin. He wants to fight everybody.
Speaking of that, DeGale says he wants Triple G now.
Everybody wants him until it's time to fight him.
Yeah, that's like we say, until the bell rings.
Yeah. It's so easy to call. It's like the Arizlandi Laura thing, right?
You know what?
It's like the Laura thing, right? I want Golovkin. Do you? Because when you wanted Canelo, what'd you do? You showed up at the press conference and called him out. I ain't seen you at any of the Triple G press conferences. I've only seen you on Twitter.
Since everybody's calling people out, I mean, I weigh about 165 right. I'm calling out Triple G.
That's right.
I don't think he can handle all this. All this unexperienced power. He ain't ready for this.
Well, all I can say is I'm glad that the cruiserweight limit is now 200 pounds. I can definitely fight at that one. It'll take a hell of a camp to get me down to light heavy.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm fighting Glowacki next now.
Yeah, you better watch him though. But yeah, this is Let's.
But it's a good fight. It's a good 50-50 fight. Give me Andrade. I mean, I ain't gonna be shocked the other way.
Truth is, and even though we're talking about matchups earlier, that is a good matchup.
It's a good matchup.
That is a good matchup. So,
but the best matchup of the night is the one that's not two Al Heyman clients. It's kind of why can all of a sudden these two are fighting?
Because they got to knock each other out.
J-Rock can't get a goddamn fight to save his life.
Y'all gonna have to press him, man.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, y'all gonna have to press him.
You're gonna have to get Al on camera, which never happens. Huh?
No, you gonna
take a GoPro.
No, you gonna have to go there. You have to make wherever his office is. You gonna have to make your camp in that city and show up every day. Say, Al, I need to fight.
You're gonna be like DX showing up at WCW.
Yeah.
The tank.
Yeah, hey, I need to fight. He said, Al, he here again. Al, I'm here again. I need to fight. You gonna have to show up in there. You know what? Y'all need to have a Let's Go Champ squad.
Hey, you can say whatever you want, but Briggs finally got his fight.
Exactly. It works.
And God forbid he beats Hay. You ain't going to be able to shut him up after that.
I think he's going to beat Hay. I don't think that's going to be difficult.
All right. Let's close it out, man. Anything else before I start my spiel?
No, this is where the fighters fighting the fans commentate.
All right, hold on. I didn't do my thing. I didn't do my spiel.
Okay.
Follow us on Twitter, Cheap Seats Box, iTunes, Stitcher, rate, review, and Skype. Be the next unofficial sponsor. Keep up the work, fellas. You guys have been doing good lately. Give me 3 of them. Man, 3 of them this week. Come on. 3 rating reviews. I mean, I would love that shit. Email the show, cheapseatsboxing.com if you want to go to Cafe Press. I swear to God, I'm about to. I feel like changing the logo and going all different with the. I want to sell some merchandise for once.
Oh, let's do that.
Yeah, we might have to do that.
Let's figure that out.
Figure that out.
Yeah.
And
a box. You know what? We're gonna get a boxing glove with a. You know
with the finger sticking out.
Yeah,
I like that. No, I think that's it. I think I covered it all. That's it, man. JP, now you can do it.
This is where the fighters fighting the fans commentate.
And we do it just like you for the cheap seats because we ain't buying no tickets. God damn it. Peace.